As we continue to debate the healthcare issue in our nation, I would hope that we remember the John Doe who was badly beaten and robbed. An unknown individual left almost dead and destitute. Like so many in our nation today, individuals saw him lying devastated and in need of help, but only one cared enough to help, and others were without compassion. And I say to you that that man was in a state of uncertainty. That man was homeless and in need of medical attention. This wasn't the time to debate within one's being whether or not this individual should be helped. No, this wasn't the time to reflect whether or not you knew this individual. No, this was not the time to query whether or not this individual had other options. No, this was a time that demanded action from anyone with a compassionate heart. Only the apathetic, absorbed with their do-nothing philosophy, will entertain thoughts about what effect helping this individual may have upon others who might also need assistance later. This man who offered help wasn't concerned with cost or its future impact. His only concern was the well-being of this injured man. Those who have not discovered who I am referring to, I am making reference to the man whom Jesus of the Christian religion used in his parable to define who is a neighbor. We in America take pride in our claim of Christian roots, and in a nation we believe was conceived by moral ethics, and each individual being endowed by his or her Creator with certain inalienable rights. In our allegiance to our flag, we cite unity, which should embrace class, race, national origin, and even sexual orientation. If we are truly one nation under God, the words of our star-spangled banner, "In God is our trust," is the motto claimed by us and our forebears. Our historical documents appear to bear witness to a heritage deeply involved in a belief in God. However, I must caution us not to allow our actions to betray our words. We must remain resolute in our endeavor to fulfill our divine calling and purpose ordained by Almighty God. We must not allow our ideologies, self-centeredness, and self-created misgivings to cause us to behave in a manner other than as our brother's keeper. Did not Cain perceive the intent of the Creator's question when he asked, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The Creator's question implies that we should know each other's circumstances and be concerned about each other's well-being. Now, I suppose Jesus could have told the parable so that the priest and the Levite could have hesitated to act in order to see if someone familiar with the unidentified man would happen by, or if someone other than themselves would assume responsibility. Nor perhaps the delay itself in immediate help might trigger assistance from some other option. And how preposterous does this kind of reasoning sound, and particularly so when one tries to imagine it to have come from the lips of Jesus of Nazareth. And it is interesting how the complexity and immediacy of a situation Change is when we who are not usually affected by calamity and catastrophe or the hopelessness of a situation find ourselves in the position of the unidentified man. It is only then that we can truly understand how powerless and interdependent we are on one another. If it is not our wealth that insulates us from appreciating such a humbling experience, then it is the fact that we are too far removed from the time in which we had to rely on the kindness and compassion of another or others. Jesus purposely left the victim's identity unknown because anyone can be that man. I could very easily be that man. And I know what it's like to not have health care. And I've experienced waiting in a hospital emergency room for several hours to only have the physician write me a prescription of over-the-counter aspirin. Oh, yes, I can identify because I know what it's like to be a victim. It is very demeaning to be told that you can no longer receive medical services until you have paid the balance of your invoice. And it is immoral to be treated with respect when one has insurance, but to be mistreated as though one's personhood has diminished due to loss of one's coverage. And I became that unidentified man when I was told that I would have to leave the hospital because I did not have any insurance on the day in which I was admitted into the hospital. And although my insurance became active on the next day, and I've come to learn that any time someone becomes a victim, and part of me too has been victimized. And if another human being is without insurance in this country, then I too should feel uneasy and a restlessness due to my conscience and responsibility to those less fortunate than myself. According to the poet John Donne, we are all interconnected and interdependent. Donne wrote, "No man is an island entitled unto himself. And every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. And any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in all of mankind. And therefore never seem to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee."